things that they are saying is being put in place, is it actually materializing on the ground?
Thank you, David. That is quite a loaded question.
Not meant to be.
So I think let's start on the positive. From a business perspective, I've already reflected slightly on the meeting that we had with the minister on Monday. I think the sentiment from business is extremely positive. If we look at the trusted employer scheme and the numbers that Mr. Mbele has presented today, we really see that on the ground. We see that with the trusted employers. Many of them in the room today, many of them are clients, so we can actually see what is happening day to day, and it really is remarkable what we've been able to achieve. I think what we cannot only speak about the positive. There is some negative, and I think one of the things that I might highlight from a business perspective is we are concerned, especially with the backlog and the volume at which and the pace at which that the department needs to work through that backlog. We are worried about adjudication decisions and the high volume of rejections. We see the rejections. The reason why we know that the rejections are poor quality is that we have 100% success rate on our appeals. So we know that the decision wasn't correct from the onset. And so it raises concern for us that while we completely support clearing the backlog by Christmas, we worried about one of the ways in which you get through it quickly is by simply rejecting it and then it gets off the table. But the problem persists for business. And I'll leave it there for now.
Could you help Marisa with that issue there, Minister?
Yes. I think it's a very salient point because you don't want to just rush towards one thing and then you lose the quality along the way. So I think that's something that we can follow up on, first of all, just to double check internally what we're seeing. But of course, the irony there is that appeals will end up in the backlog. And so that's exactly why we need to move systemically to deal with this. But I think the real underlying point, and I'm going to say this for as long as I'm in this job, you'll hear me every time. Everything you say goes back to automation. Because what you are experiencing there, you are suspicious of the quality of a decision because a human wants to meet a target and get it done, which is completely understandable. And even what Mr. Mbele was saying about the official that's scared to do a one-day process because they are worried that this will create some kind of suspicion around them. Every single one of these problems will be addressed if you remove it out of the domain of human discretion. And because then there's nothing suspicious about a computer that's checked your thing in 30 seconds and said yes or no. And it addresses the quality side that you mentioned. So in the immediate, we'll have to look into that and see just whether we're picking up the same thing internally, whether there's some kind of mitigation or whether we can adjust on the backlog project itself. But I think on the overall point, it reinforces the urgency of getting to a point where we can take, and sorry, I'm going to abuse because I have to respond to this video. I mean, it's just the most wonderful thing. I was literally emotional watching it. It is just the most wonderful thing to see that despite the issues and the imperfections that are still there and the backlog that still exists, it's not like it's gone. You can just see that the potential is there. The commitment is there. And essentially what I think we need to do is take that human capacity and free it. Remove it from having to sit with 100,000 decisions on this and that. Get it to actually be those people, that team, being the ones supervising the machines, supervising the process, quality control, exactly what you're talking about. So I think that's how we get there. I'm not going to say longer term because then we're all dead. Medium term, that's where we have to get. In the immediate, I think it is an issue worth looking into and seeing if we are picking up anything there that we would have to double check on the backlog.